So we must avoid falling into the same trap as with oil and gas. We should not replace old dependencies with new ones. We are therefore working to ensure the resilience of our supply chains. And again, strong international partnerships are at the heart of the solution. So the Commission has already secured strategic raw material partnerships with countries, for example, like Canada, and additional reliable partnerships will follow. Once again, together we can create more balanced interdependencies and build supply chains that we can really trust. For the first time in history, the European Union is providing military aid to a country under attack. We are mobilizing our full economic power. Our sanctions and the self-sanctionings of companies themselves are draining Russia's economy and thus draining the Kremlin's war machine. Our member states are caring for 6 million Ukrainian refugees, and actually there are 8 million internally displaced people in Ukraine itself. And in parallel, Ukraine needs direct budget support now to keep the economy running. It's about pensions, it's about salaries, it's about the basic services that have to be provided. And therefore, we have proposed a 10 billion euros macro-financial assistance. It is the largest package of macro-financial assistance ever conceived by the European Union for a third country. And Russia has tried to put pressure on us, for example, by cutting the energy supplies, the gas supplies of Bulgaria, Poland, and now lately Finland. But this war and this behavior we see has only strengthened Europe's resolve to get rid of Russian fossil fuel dependency rapidly. The climate cannot wait, but now the geopolitical reasons are evident too. We have to diversify away from fossil fuels. We have set our course already towards climate neutrality, so now we must accelerate our clean energy transition. Take, for example, the North Sea of Europe and what is happening there. Last week, we had 4 European member states joining forces to harness the energy of offshore wind, and they decided to quadruple their offshore wind capacity by 2030. That will mean wind farms in the North Sea will cover the annual energy consumption of more than 50 million homes. This is roughly 1/4 of all European households. This is the right way to go. Renewable energy is basically our springboard towards net zero CO2 emissions. And it is good for the climate, but it is also good for our independence and for our security of energy supply. This is using hunger and grain to wield power. And again, our answer is and must be to mobilize greater collaboration and support at the European and global level. First, Europe is working hard to get grain to global markets out of Ukraine. You must know that there are currently 20 million tons of wheat stuck in Ukraine. The usual export in Ukraine was 5 million tons per month. Now it is down to 200,000 to 1 million tons. By getting it out, we can provide Ukrainians with the needed revenues, and the World Food Programme with supplies it so badly needs. So to do this, we're opening solidarity lines. We are linking Ukraine's borders to our ports. We're financing different modes of transportation so that Ukraine's grain can reach the most vulnerable countries in the world. The European Green Deal is already ambitious, but now we are taking our ambition yet to another level. Last week, the European Commission tabled and proposed Repower EU. That is our 300 billion euro plan to phase out of Russian fossil fuels and fast forward the green transition. And today, if we look at the share of renewables we have in Europe, almost a quarter of the energy we consume in Europe stems from renewable sources already. This is the famous European Green Deal. But now, through Repower EU, we will practically double this share to 45% in 2030. This is only possible by also bringing cross-border cooperation to a new level. We are witnessing how Russia is weaponizing its energy supplies. And indeed, this is having global repercussions. Unfortunately, we are seeing the same pattern emerging in food security. Ukraine is one of the world's most fertile countries, and even its flag symbolizes the most common Ukrainian landscape, a yellow field of grain under blue, blue sky. Now, those fields of grain have been scorched. In Russian-occupied Ukraine, the Kremlin's army is confiscating grain stocks and machinery. For some, this brought back memories from a dark past, the times of the Soviets, crop seizures, and the devastating famine of the 1930s. Today, Russia's artillery is bombarding grain warehouses in Ukraine, deliberately. And Russian warships in the Black Sea are blockading Ukrainian ships full of wheat and sunflower seeds. The consequences of these shameful acts are there for everyone to see. Global wheat prices are skyrocketing, and it's the fragile countries and vulnerable populations that suffer the most.